forget the day we met. Your eyes so blue, me piercing through.
Hi guys, welcome to part 4 of your Quarantine CAL, and today we're going to be doing the spot square, which is one of my real faves. It's worked in 2 parts, so we have part 1 in one colour and part 2 in a second colour. Part 1 is really great for learning how to increase and make circles and get that nice flat circle, and then part 2 is all about squaring that off to make it into a square motif so it will fit in our blanket or your jumper, whatever you're making. So for your blanket you're going to want to make 4 in different colours. For your cushion you just need 1, and in your loose attention, if you're making your jumper, you're going to want 2, and they can be in the same colour or different colourways, whatever you fancy. So let's get hooking on this number. So I'm going to turn you around and we're going to go through the techniques. So to make the first part of our spot motif, we want to make the spot to start. So I'm going to take my first colour, place that on my hook. You could do a magic circle here, but I hate magic circles. So I'm going to chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, place that first stitch on my hook and do a slip stitch, wrap round, pull through both to join them, and then I'm going to be working into that central hole. So for our first round we want to chain up, so I'm going to chain 3 for my height because we're going to be doing trebles now, and we want to do 11 trebles into the central ring. So wrap round, in, pull through, wrap, pull through 2, wrap, pull through 2. So wrap round for your treble, into the middle, grab your strand, pull through, so you've got 3 loops on your hook, wrap, pull through 2, wrap, pull through 2. And you're going to want to do that so you have 11 trebles, and then your chain up counts as 1 fake treble, so that will give you 12 in total. So go all the way round. And my tip, if you don't like magic circles like me, is when you're going round, if you also go round your tail from your start, you can pull this at the end to join. So just remember to count. So that's your first one, the fake one, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And so I'm going to pull that strand to tighten that hole up a bit, come round, and I want to join in that first chain in the 1, 2, third one up through the 2 loops with a slip stitch to join. And I always think that it's a really good idea now to just count your trebles, to just double check that that first round has got the right amount that you're going to use. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we want 12 in total because that's 11 trebles and 1 chain up, which works as a fake treble. We're now going to move on to round 2. So we're going to chain up 3 again, 1, 2, 3. And for this first round, we're going to increase. So we're going to do 2 trebles in every stitch. And that first one, we've got this is our fake treble, so that's already got 1. So we're going to wrap, come back down into the one next to it. And now in every chain we're going to do, in every stitch head we're going to do 2 trebles. And here we want to double our stitches. So you'll know you've done it right if at the end when you join it we have 24 stitches. And when you get to the end, just like I said before, count your stitches to just make sure there's enough. So we want to have 24. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. So I've got this last one to go in to put my last 2 trebles. 23, 24. And now I'm going to join in the top of that third stitch with a slip stitch to join. So this is my first 2 rounds, and we doubled the amount of stitches in the second row. Now we want to increase our stitches in the third row, but we don't want to double every stitch because we'd create an over full circle. So what we're going to do for third row is chain up 3. We're going to put another treble into that same stitch, and then we're going to do 1 treble in the next, and then what we're going to do is we're going to put 2 trebles in every other stitch to sort of evenly increase it. So this next one I'm going to put 2, and then the following one I'm going to put 1, and then I'm going to put 2, and so on around the whole round. And when you get to the end of the round, before you join, just double check your stitches, and on this round you're going to want to have 36 stitches. And you should end on a single treble in your row to complete the pattern, and then we're going to join in the top once you've checked you've got the right amount of stitches. Now for row 4 we're going to increase again, but we're going to lower our increase, and this is where we can start to see the pattern. And what I find really helpful when creating a flat circle, I tend to do it visually because I find it easier. So if you chain up your 3, we're going to do 2 into that first stitch. So that first one counts as 1, and then 1 extra treble. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to do 1 stitch, 1 treble, then 1 treble in the next. So we're increasing. The previous round we just did 1 treble after our 2. Now we do 1 treble but twice. And then if you can see below, we've got our V where we increased in this stitch, and so we're going to do 2 trebles in that space. And I find this like a really handy way when you're doing circles to know how many you should be increasing each row. So in the next 2 stitches, this one and this one, we're just going to do 1 treble in each, and then when we get to our V again, I'm going to do 2 trebles in that space. I'm going to repeat that all the way round for my 4th row. So you want to do a treble in the 2 next holes, and then 2 trebles in the stitch gap where you've previously done 2 trebles below. And at the end of this round you should have 48 stitches. So now we've got to our 4th round, and we're going to move on to our 5th. So just check 1, 2, 3, 4. Make sure you're double checking the amount of stitches. So at the end of that 4th round, we're going to want to have 48 stitches. And now we're going to move on to our 5th. So chain up 3, treble down into the same space. Then we're going to do 1 treble, 2 trebles, 3 trebles before our increase, because below on our 4th we can see is that V where we've put 2 in below, put 2 in, 1 treble, 2 treble in the space, and we're going to follow that increase for the next round. And it's just a really easy way when you're tracking it visually to keep your circle growing and keep it nice and flat. So just remember, you're going to be doing this time 1, 2, 3 trebles, and then in the 4th stitch you're going to do 2 trebles in the same round, in the same hole. So now that we've finished our 5th round, you just want to double check that you've got 60 stitches at the end of your 5th round, and now we're going to go on to our 6th and final round of this first part and finishing of our spot. So we're going to chain up 3, 1, 2, 3, do our first treble into the same stitch, then we've got 1 treble, 2 trebles, 3 trebles, 4 trebles now until our first increase, and then we're going to do 2 trebles in this spot. And just look at your spot and you can see that your 2 trebles into the stitch go up in a line, and this is how it's really easy to track your increase. So we're going to do 2 in that, and we're just going to follow that doing our 4 single trebles, 2 trebles into the same space for the whole row. And when you've finished your round, you want to have 72 stitches before you fasten off. And when finishing up your spot and your final 6th round, just before you cut off and fasten off your final round, just double check your stitches, because the stitch count will be really important in our next step. So you want to make sure that you've got 72 stitches around the outside. So that's the end of doing part 1 of your spot square. So now you've finished part 1, we're going to go on to part 2. So we're going to want to take our second colour, put it on our hook, join in any stitch, and I always just join with a double crochet join because I find it easiest. And we're going to start off by making our first long corner. So you're going to want to chain 4 up this time, 1, 2, 3, 4, because now we're going to do some double trebles into this space. So a double treble, remember, is you wrap around your hook twice into the same stitch, grab your yarn, you'll have 4 loops on your hook, wrap, pull through 2, wrap, pull through 2, wrap, pull through 2. And we're going to want to make 1 more of those. So wrap around your hook twice, into the same stitch, wrap, pull through 2, wrap, pull through 2, wrap, pull through 2. Now we're making this our first corner, so you're going to want to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to do 3 double trebles back into that very same stitch. So that's our first one, our second double treble, and our third, to finish off the sort of first corner of squaring off our circle. We're now going to do 3 trebles. We're going to miss 2 stitches below, and we're going to do 3 trebles in the third stitch. 1, 2, 3. And now we're going to do 3 half trebles in that third stitch again. So miss 1, in the third stitch, half treble. So wrap as if you're doing a treble into the space, wrap, and then pull through all 3 loops at once. So wrap around into the space, pull through, wrap, pull through all 3, 1 more. And we're going to want to do that 2 more times. So we're going to wrap ready for our treble, miss 2 stitches into the third, 1 half treble, 2 half trebles, 3 half trebles, and 1 more cluster of that. So wrap, count 1, 2 into the third, wrap, 1 half treble, 2 half trebles, 3 half trebles, and now we're going to go back to our treble. So wrap, miss 2 into the third, 3 trebles, 1, 2, 3, and now we're back to do our next corner. So we're going to want to double treble in the third stitch, 3 double trebles, 3 chain, 3 double trebles. Now we've got our first 2 corners. we're going to go along a straight again, following that pattern. So you're going to miss 2, you're going to do 3 trebles in the 3rd stitch, then you're going to miss 2 and you're going to do 3 half trebles, and you're going to do 3 of those clusters, and then back to your treble before your next corner. That's our 3rd corner, and then I'm just going to repeat this until I get to the end, and this is when we also find out if we've done the right amount of stitches. And when we get all the way round, we're then just going to join that round in that 4th chain up to complete the 1st round of the 2nd part, and this is what has squared off our motif. We're now going to do the 2nd round of this, and this is then technically round 8 and the final round of our square, which is just going to be like following the stitches round just as a normal granny square. So if we chain up 3, 1, 2, 3, we're going to go into that 1st corner square, we're going to do 3 trebles, and now remember 2 chains and then 3 trebles in that corner space. So 2 chains and 3 trebles. 1, 2, 3. And we're just going to do 3 trebles in each space, like in between our clusters, along each edge. And in the last gap, just remember to only do 2 trebles because we've got that 1st chain that counts as our 3rd. We're going to join in the 3rd chain up with a slip stitch, extra stitch, fasten off, and there you have your finished spot square and part 4 of your CAL complete.